Hi, it's me, Kayla. I am in fact not dead, although I might be getting there. So I was going to skip the ranking this year because I hate having to justify why I like things. But then I said to myself, calm down and just make the effing video. Here's the deal. Today, I'm going to be ranking my top BLs of 2023. Last year, I had 15. This year, I have 12. The reason being, I couldn't choose. Okay, let's get into it. Kicking off at number 12 is a series I originally thought would be in my top 5. And that's the Thai BL, Moonlight Chicken. I loved everything about this series, from the writing, the acting, the cinematography, and all the themes it explored. Truthfully, I don't have a single critique about it, and in a weird way, that's the reason why I've ranked it so low. It aired, I watched it, then I forgot about it. For me, it just wasn't as memorable as some of the other series on this list, in spite of the fact I would consider it a must-watch. My favorite part of Moonlight Chicken was Heart and Li Ming, hands down. I just love dramas where two people from vastly different socioeconomic classes come together and gain an understanding of each other. And here, that understanding is so crucial because Heart is deaf and has been isolated by his family who have made no effort to accommodate him. Then Li Ming comes along and becomes a genuine friend to him, someone who helps him but doesn't other him, and slowly we see an innocent crush develop into something more. It's this beautiful depiction of young love in a world that's falling apart, a world that's so tough on the poor and the disabled, and in that world, these two still manage to find happiness. Next up at number 11 is a series that pays homage to 90s mafia licorne, and that's the Thai BL, Never Let Me Go. Between this year and last, I'm noticing that I have a thing for bodyguard romance. I just think being so devoted to someone that you're willing to die for them is the highest form of love on this planet. I will never forget the director P. Jojo asking me why I like this series.
I don't know why you love it, but
I love you, Jojo, but the girls who get it, and the girls who don't. And I'm sorry to say, you don't get it. In all seriousness, the thing that drew me to this series was the cinematography. On its own, each shot has artistic value, but then you layer on the color grading, which gives everything a vintage glow, and I'm sold. The other key factor here is Pond and Pooin's execution of these roles. Pooin playing a snarky little brat, I ate that up. And then Pond guarding him so begrudgingly, I'm still full. The plot holes and pacing didn't matter to me because I was so enraptured by the drama of it all. Nungdiao's uncle holding him hostage? Unserious. Palm almost murdering Nungdiao's mother? Unhinged. I will admit I wasn't as invested in Ben and Chopper as characters, but Chimon and Perth can act like their lives depend on it. Okay guys, let me cheat for a minute. At number 10, we have the last 4 episodes of the Thai BL anthology series, Our Sky 2. If you'll recall, this was the crossover between Bad Buddy and A Tale of a Thousand Stars. Besides this installment and Never Let Me Go, Our Sky 2 was underwhelming for me. So imagine my surprise when I found myself bawling my eyes out during that final episode. I knew that seeing Tien and Pupa again would elicit strong emotions from me, but I didn't expect their story to mesh so well with Pat and Pran's. It was very surreal to see these characters interact with each other, but it didn't feel nonsensical like most episodes of Our Sky do. The story made sense, and it was executed in a way where you received adequate screen time with both couples. Not only was it nostalgic, but it gave Bad Buddy and A Tale of a Thousand Stars the endings they deserved. One scene I often think about is when Tien and Pupa go to see Pat and Pran's play. and Pupa realizes just how great of an impact their love story has had on others. Up until the day that Pat and Pran left the village, he was adamant about not signing that waiver. But when he finally did, that spoke volumes to his growth as a character. And of course, the proposal scene. People died. Counting down at number 9 is the polarizing series of this list, and that's the Thai BL Only Friends. The reason I call it polarizing is because this is the one that evoked the most extreme responses from people. I appreciated the discussions it spurred, but I also think I lost half my brain function seeing so much ignorance about trauma and addiction. You would think Ray was a serial killer the way people wanted the police to brutalize him during a mental health crisis. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but it's because all that chatter affected my viewing experience. Despite that, Only Friends had the most intriguing characters on this list. They all had their own issues, and the way they would take out those issues on each other was so entertaining. This series is the definition of messy, and I did have fun tuning in every week to see who would fuck who. Unsurprisingly, the characters I was most invested in were Ray and Nick. I understood Ray like no other, and I had overflowing sympathy watching everybody give up on him because he is so self-destructive. Addicts are not criminals who deserve to die, you guys. Now, I love Nick for a much simpler reason. He's a loser. I'm a loser. He let a situationship walk all over him. I let a situationship walk all over me. We're tight like that. So for number 8, this series was hard to place because I genuinely think it's one of the best out there, and I'm talking about the Korean BL, The Eighth Sense. The only reason it isn't in the top 5 is because I love too many shows. Oh my god. This series outsold the entire Korean entertainment industry. I never would have expected a German director to collaborate on a BL series, but I think he brought an offbeat vibe that felt so independent from the usual style of K-dramas. It's a masterpiece for real. I love the setting of the beach and how it becomes a sanctuary for Jaewon and Jihyun. Their tension is as tumultuous as the ocean, and it's something you can feel through the screen. Clearly, they want each other, but Jaewon's trauma causes him to pull away. He can be quite frustrating at times, but it's because he doesn't feel deserving, not of love, friendship, or anything really. And so, seeing him go to therapy in the context of his trauma, and this culture where mental health is often neglected, was an interesting diversion from the norm. I will never forget that iconic scene where Jaewon finally has a breakthrough and marches on over to Jihoon's place, Conan Gray blasting in his headphones so dramatically. Moving on to number 7 is a series that I expected to hate, and that's the Thai BL, Naughty Babe. You guys, why was this series good? I feel like such a fool, and here's why. I dragged Yi to hell in last year's ranking video. I thought he was the biggest red flag for acting so paternal towards Diao, and I still think that. But I understand him now, and I was defending him down the entire series. Him and Diao had the best character development out of everybody in the Cutie Pie universe, and honestly, out of this whole list. This is what good writing looks like. I have so much commentary on this series, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to keep it brief. Seeing just how terrible DL's family treats him was eye-opening, and it completely flipped my view of Yi and DL's relationship. When your fiance's uncle is trying to kill him, you should be overprotective. I get it. This series made me feel everything, from anger over DL's father leeching off Yi and refusing to apologize for using his son, to relief when Yi and DL were finally able to get married on their own terms. And God, this is the funniest show I've seen in a long time. The combination of outrageous and subtle humor had me rolling. And who would I be if I didn't mention the light of my life, Z Nunu. Z and Nunu. That is all. At number 6 is a series I enjoyed so much I went and read the manga, and that's the Japanese BL, The End of the World with You. What a poignant show. On the surface, it might seem like a generic apocalypse story, but it's so much more than that. It's about suicide and grief and unfulfillment, all things that become distorted once the prospect of the end is in sight. Suddenly, you have this group of people who all wanted to die, wanting to live. The human connection they've all been missing is granted to them so coincidentally that it must be fate. I've said before that Japanese BLs have this tendency to trigger existential crises, and this series is no exception. Much like Old-Fashioned Cupcake, there's this melancholic idea of time passing and how it slips through your fingers. It's the carpe diem of it all. I loved all the Easter eggs about Yuma possessing supernatural powers that could stop the meteor. It was like his pain awakened something within him, and that something gave him purpose. In the end, I was left with more hope than doubt because everybody was just happy to have lived. Why am I actually tearing up? This series and the messages in it had such an impact on me this year, and speaking of impact, the meteor never touches down. Found that out by reading the manga. Okay, we're in the top 5. This next series wasn't the best production-wise, but I loved it regardless of its pitfalls. And that's the Thai BL, Bed Friend. Everybody, pretend to be shocked. I have spoken about this series so much on Lovecast, but I'm going to do it again because I can. If I was rich, I would send 50 of those money bouquets to Net and James' doorsteps to thank them for their performance in Bed Friend. They do sexual tension so well that watching them is like peeking through a curtain and witnessing something you're not supposed to. Aside from their chemistry, this is a good story. I could have used a warning before jumping into it because it is so heavy on the theme of sexual assault, but this is one of those series where you need to see to understand the gravity of what Ua's endured. I love the smaller themes that are sprinkled throughout the series, like King and Ua getting tested for HIV, and Ua's coworkers causing a scene because HR won't punish the supervisor that's harassing him. All these incidents keep piling up, and through it all, King is like this God-sent non-boyfriend who doesn't let shit fly. It's so good. Net James are so good that I was able to look past Mandy's horrendous editing choices. The hyperfixation is real. Number 4 is a package deal, a series and a movie, and that's the Japanese BL, My Beautiful Man 2, and Eternal. This should surprise no one considering this was the only series I made a review for this year. It was blocked for copyright a while ago, but it's free to watch on my Patreon. What can I say about season 2 that I haven't already? First of all, hooray for a BL getting a second season that isn't senseless bullshit. If anybody deserved to have their story continued, it's Hira and Kioi, my favorite toxic couple. Let me talk about Eternal. I was afraid they would recycle clips from both seasons and pass it off as a movie, so the fact that it was its own almost 2-hour production blew me away. Not to be dramatic, but it was riveting. I have become so invested in these characters that it feels like I've grown with them. It feels like seeing an old friend and reminiscing on all the memories you've shared. Does that make sense? The nostalgia and comfort My Beautiful Man brings me cannot be understated. Intentional directing, beautiful screenwriting, consistent characterization, and award-worthy acting. What more could you want? They took the toxicity from quintessential Japanese BL and made you yearn for more of it. We're coming down to the wire here. At number 3 is a series I hyperfixated on so intensely that I forced the locals to watch it. And that's the Thai BL, Step by Step. Listen, I rarely go for office dramas. Maybe it's because I don't relate to the corporate world, but more often than not, I'm bored to death. That being said, this series is a different breed. The slow burn will they, won't they between Jang and Pat brings a whole new meaning to sensuality. Personally, I couldn't have restrained myself for longer than a week, but that would have made for a very short story. It's the chemistry for me and the buildup of tension between a boss and his subordinate. If you're going to tell this story, this is the way to do it. The hesitation was so frustratingly good. The question of, should I risk it, drove me crazy. But all this back and forth is what made the payoff so satisfying. When Jang and Pat finally confess to each other, all those pent-up emotions come barreling out in some of the best on-screen kisses I've ever seen. That kitchen scene will never leave my consciousness for as long as I'm conscious. Them cuddling in bed? Forget about it. Can I also say, I am so glad they hired a man in his 30s to play Jang instead of having a 20-year-old cosplay as a grown adult. GMMTV could never. And the fact that the actors were the ages of the characters made the story feel more mature. Their problems were real. I suppose my only critique of this series is them dropping the ball with the side couple. Closing in on number 2 is a special that I hold near and dear to my heart, and that's the Thai BL, Cutie Pie to You. I don't care if it wasn't a full series. I don't give a shit about semantics. Find me a time machine so I can go back and relive the joy I felt while this special was airing. Truly, nothing else mattered to me, and nothing else has mattered since. In the words of Megan Thee Stallion, where the real bitches at? I'm finna bring real bitches back. We need the next Prince ASAP so you guys don't have to listen to me rehash the same old jabber. Lian and Kua are so aspirational. I watched this special and said to myself, so this is love. There wasn't too much of anything. The comedy, the drama, the tone was consistent with the original. Kua and Diao's friendship was still so sweet. Lian and Yi were still dragging each other, and Poppy nearly stole the show with a single exclamation. The cast of Cutie Pie work exceptionally well together. They have that friend chemistry. One scene from this special that I watch periodically is when Lian goes to pick up Kua from the bar and he tells him to come here, and Kua runs into his outstretched arms. Is this what being loved is like? I wouldn't know, but that's what makes it aspirational. Another thing I have to mention is the OST. The OST. It bangs. In general, I have hit a new peak of Xenonu delusion this year, and now all that's left is for me to meet them. This is manifestation. So before I reveal my number 1 BL of this year, I have 2 honorable mentions that are deserving of recognition. The first one is the Pinoy BL, The Day I Loved You. I was working on a review for this series and I just didn't have time to finish it. So here's me trying to make up for it by saying, go watch it. It's a beautiful story that will have you sobbing. I won't give any spoilers, so just watch it. My second one is the Thai BL, My School President, because I'm an airhead and I forgot to add it. Now it's too late for me to do anything about it, but I need you all to know that I love My School President. It's cute, it's fun, and the music production is outstanding. If you know, you know. All right, here's the big one. My Top BL of 2023 is a series so tantalizing that it reignited my passion for literature. And that's the Thai BL, I Feel You Linger in the Air. This series is cinema. If you told me it was nominated at the Cannes Film Festival, I would believe it. In terms of production quality, this one takes first place. The camera work is so stunning, the costuming is so elegant, and the acting is just in a league of its own. All the themes you would expect in a historical series are there, and even some you wouldn't expect. I Feel You Linger in the Air checks all the boxes for me. Soulmates, period piece, time travel, dimension hopping, and commentary on colonialism, violence against women, and queerness in 1920s Chiang Mai. I feel like D-Hub House planted a microchip in my brain and took an inventory of all my interests to put into this show. I even bought and read the novel in 2 days because simply watching it wasn't enough. I needed to consume it. And not just that, I bought a collection of every H.G. Wells novel because Yai reads The Time Machine once. This series single-handedly got me back into reading, and I am absolutely working on a video. I have to shout out Noncool and Bright for bringing life to these characters in a way that no one else could. They are Jom and Yai. It's perfect casting. You know, I never thought a series would come close to Until We Meet Again, but this one is the closest second to ever do it. Well, that was fun. Thank you to the moon and back for watching this video. I know it's been months of radio silence on this channel, but I really do appreciate your patience and your support towards my other endeavors. I also need to give the most grandiose thank you to my patrons for being the reason I can keep editing videos and just tolerating all the tears I shed over BL on a weekly basis. You're the best. If you're ever curious about what shows I'm currently watching and how I'm feeling about them, just follow me on social media. I hide out on Twitter like a crocodile in the Everglades, waiting for the right opportunity to bite. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys when I see you. Bye!